What is up, everyone? It is Omen and Rage here, and I am presenting a different kind of video, mainly to do with WOTC console. Now, it has come to terms now with that game that I have kind of thrown in the towel, and I have had enough of the game. And, well, there's been a lot of drama, a lot of tensions rising with what happened on the Tuesday update in WOTC's console. So, I mean, where do I start? Where do I start? I waited like 3 to 4 hours of downtime on the Tuesday just to wait for that update to go live on the live server, right? And I tell you one thing, when I first entered the game and from that point on, I was kind of baffled at first, and then I went into a battle, had a few games, and I just thought, you know what? This is actually so disappointing. My disappointment was so immeasurable that day. Honestly, it was not good. It was not good. So, I have a couple of things that I want to show as well as an example of, what I've said on Twitter and what's going on within my Discord community over what's been going on. So, like I said, tensions are high at the moment for the duration of this week since Tuesday. But my first action that I performed after the update was, you might have noticed on my Twitter and my recent tweet that I'm done with this shite WOTC console game. Upside down smiley face after what I experienced on Tuesday. I'd never felt so disappointed in my life over the amount of just in general, disappointed. It doesn't get any more disheartening than when you played the game for so long, so many years, been in the game for years. I started from the very beginning. To head up to this time of the year, this week, for waiting for that disappointment, unbelievable. So, of course, a lot of people are feeling the same way as I am. It's not just me. Multiple people are. And I'm not just talking about just any ordinary multiple people. I'm talking about people within, the WOTC game, for example, the community contributors that are in the game and the community ambassadors, etc. So, yeah. They're caught in the middle of this whole entire thing as well. And to be honest, I don't think, directing the blame at them or anything within community management or whatnot is the right way to go, to be fairly honest with you. They're caught in the middle of it. And so, with what happened with the game, I think it was between the super testers and the actual developers of that game that's absolutely just screwed it up. And if you ask me, how that got through the super test blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Right? So, and all of people in the comments section that you see here, they've all said their part, etc., and, yeah, they feel the same. Like I said, they don't want to play, not like I said, they don't want to play the game, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And, since Tuesday, I haven't even touched the game since. And there are a lot of players who have been in the game for a long time, or good players, very good players, and all their hard work feels so wasted. All wasted for what? For Tuesday's update? You can't be serious. You can't make this shit up as you go along, right? The thing is, right? I remember an entire year in console tanks where 2018 they updated the game and all the updates that year were pretty disappointing. It was pretty much like the worst year that ever happened. But I think the patch that we got earlier this week is worse than that on a grand scale, a massive scale, I think, personally. But I want to just to tell you what they actually did with the game for those who don't know. But I'll do it from my own words and my own perspective of opinion, right? It's all about matter of opinion, right? Everyone has different opinions. And the thing is some people still are playing the game. Which, you have to respect that opinion, right? They want to play a game, they want to play. And if someone's like not enjoying a game, etc., really not enjoying a game, and your enjoyment's hit level 0, you just don't want to play. That's the thing I'd highly recommend. Just don't play the game, but it's more than that this time round. It definitely is. So, I'm going to post something up on Discord now, anyway, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. Now, let me see if I can find it on here. Is it still here? Yes, here we are. So, what I've got here is a poll, basically. I open original, just so you can all see it. So, yeah. Here is the poll that was taken on the forums about World of Tanks console and the update, right? Now, the numbers aren't exactly like this. Now, obviously, that's varied every time. The people casting the votes on the forums, etc., right? But this is a poll, right? So in this poll, we were asked, do you like the update? And, well, look at the middle column. That says no. What does that tell you there? 90%, over 90% of the community hate that update. Absolutely despise it. Okay? And I'm pretty much in there with them at this point. I mean, there has to be really something going wrong with the developers team, etc. If you're making updates and 90% of your community is disappointed, that is not a good sign. That is really shit. It really is. So, and then there was a second question, like, would you like the update reversed? So, yes, like I said, over 90% people want it reversed, but I don't know if that will ever happen. But there is a but. I mean, they are trying now. The developers are trying to update the game, trying to switch a couple of things around and whatnot. But you got to remember, I mean, do you think that's going to be good enough for all of us? That's the real question. That's the question you got to ask yourself. So I've noticed as well when I played on Tuesday, I went into a battle. I went into a couple of battles actually, and I noticed there was something awfully wrong with the minimap. It wasn't in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. It was in the top left, and they shrunk the size of it. Meaning that, well, because my TV screen is placed above my monitor, right? Because I can't put it anywhere else. I have no space. So when I look into the top left corner, it's very, very hard for me to see. I can't see who's spotted or anything, or whoever's lit up on the map. It's very, very hard to see. So this all falls under the HUD element of the game. And there are a couple of other things as well, not just the minimap. But, and the bottom left-hand corner, where the tank 2D model is, and where you normally see the modules, you can't even see that. You can't even see where the modules are, and you can't see the crew members. So, it's just... It was a complete headache on Tuesday for me to even play the game. It really was. A very, very big headache. I wonder how much time these developers actually spent on this patch. That's what I'm quite curious about. Because to me, it doesn't look like much. Well, let's say the best effort has happened with it. Okay. Now I've known these developers and their intentions with the game and what they do to the game each time. I could read them like a children's book on the back of my hand, right? I know how the things go. But I mean, I've been seeing what it's like in the past few years with previous patches, which obviously weren't as bad as this one that we just had. But I'm talking about like how much effort are they putting in to their updates. So over the years of following this, I came up with a conclusion over this, and I said, to be honest, I don't think they're doing maximum effort. I think they're doing the bare minimal, and sometimes some of these patches are barely scraping through. It's like they're not bothered to work on the game, etc. And one of the biggest things as well is listening. And that's the one thing they don't really do well. You could tell them one thing, right? Let's say this. You could tell them one thing, it goes through one ear, and it comes out the other. Pretty sure people in community management try their best to, get their feedback off the community, etc. And, use that information to update, process that information to then consider applying fixes and bug fixes. And there's another thing as well, what I've just mentioned about bugs. I've noticed quite a lot of bugs in the game when I logged in as well. It was very bugged out, in a way. There were more than like 2 bugs, or like 5, I don't know, like multiple bugs in the actual game. I mean, there have been bugs before, but I don't think back then it was as bad. But on this scale, this week, they were bad. I mean, obviously, they are applying fixes to that. I mean, obviously, they would do. But wouldn't there be, like, a unique way, a better plan, whereby if they were actually putting in the maximum effort, right, maybe 1 or 2 bugs may slip out, fine, fair enough, but multiple is just a crippling eyesore. That should be used as like a prime example. Should be used a prime example of the things that are within the game. So, as well, I've got a screenshot here about the HUD elements in the game, of course, when you're in battle. And, well, this that you see here, everything within this image, right here, should be a visual reminder of what the HUD should look like in this same format, but obviously more revamped and re-updated, okay? Like when you're moving things like the map and putting it at the top left of the screen and making it smaller, it's just more hard work. And being able to not see the modules on the screen as well, like that you see there on the bottom left, and all the crew members there, that makes it even harder to process the information. And there's another thing as well, the radio wheel. When you toggle the radio wheel to, let's say, for example, say an affirmative or defend the base, they're all in different locations on the actual wheel, and it's just demoralizing. It's just so confusing. But there's not just the HUD elements of the game that have been the problem. Another common one as well that I've found out was the tech tree. The tech tree got re-updated, of course. They took tier 1 and tier 2 out, and a couple of tier 3s and small amount of tier 4s. Didn't really change much. Obviously, 1 and 2, tiers 1 and 2 and stuff. How anyone really plays anyway. But it's not that's the problem. They've completely reconstructed the tech tree in a way where you're ascending upwards and not going all the way to the right to get to, the higher tier to get to tier 10, right? They've got it scrolling up, and if that wasn't bad enough, in the normal territory, you should see what the Prem territory looks like. That's even more confusing. And I literally, that day I slammed my controller on the table, laughing my head off, like literally wanting to facepalm. It was that bad. And then we come up to the third thing, and this is to do with crews. So, as we all know, it takes a commander to run a tank, right? And majority of these crews that people have worked on probably would have had quite a lot of perks on them, I suspect. At least over 15, or at least like a few of them, might I add. But just any that excelled over 9. So, what happened was they capped how many crew skills or perks you should have. And they set it to 9, but in my eyes, I feel like it's too low. And people have to reconstruct their crews in order for it to work. But if you exceeded the 9 slots on the crews anyway, you'd be able to put 9 perks on. Or how many you actually had below 9. But it's not just that. I mean, I think with what happened with the crews, I feel like something should have been compensated, if you know what I mean. Something should have been compensated. I don't know, maybe something to do with the crew XP, etc. At least something. So they didn't really have much stuff, any exciting stuff really. The only thing that excited us was, of course, the tank skins that they put in the game, which is completely fine. Another dilemma as well is the tanks. Some of the tanks are far too broken and OP. And, for example, artillery. People hate artillery, of course they do, because who would want to be shot on from from the back of the map by some bloody clicker who sits in the back and does nothing the whole game? Just shooting away. We don't have rebalanced arty on console, but this doesn't add up to the fact that it got buffed and it's more accurate than ever now. Or other tanks like the Death Star and the Shipman, they seem to hit anything without hardly missing now. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And if that wasn't bad enough, the KV-2 hits like a laser now. And it's the most inaccurate tier 6 on planet Earth. In what universe does a KV-2 have laser accuracy? With its reticle being small. But then it wasn't just that. The entirety of the tanks, etc., got changed. In terms of their stat values, etc., and thanks to the new equipment as well, that's kind of not helped the situation. It makes me feel like, you know, they've done something, not just with the stats in them, but with the RNG also. The RNG feels a little bit more different. I feel like they've taken out 25% RNG and put it at 10%. And obviously with that being reduced to that, more skill gap is now involved in the game. And to be honest, skill gap is the thing that's reduced in World of Tanks because of RNG, etc. So, yeah, I mean, what else can I say about that? Also, one final thing I want to point out as well. When an enemy tank is spotted, you can barely see the icon on top of them, or what they are, or when they're still on the screen. When I was on the game Tuesday, I noticed when I was on an urban map, trying to peek around a corner, when 2 guys were actually in front of me spotted, I couldn't see them whatsoever on my screen until I peeked the corner. Literally that. And I thought there was something wrong with the game, but it turns out there wasn't. It was the actual spotting that had changed as well. And it's very, very hard to see. Especially when you've got a minimap on the top left-hand corner of the screen. Makes it several times hard. You know? I mean, wouldn't it have been better to keep the tank icons above them and the name of that player and the amount of hit points they have? I'm pretty sure that, of course, is important, but no. The HUD element shows that on the right-hand corner of the screen, where the minimap used to be, of the enemy tank and what's going on with it, etc. And it's like, you've just made the game several times harder. You really have. I mean, they changed a lot of things in this update. They really did. And to be honest, I don't think it's worked out that well. People might be saying, oh, but Alman, you're just complaining because you're not good at the game. Actually, I'm complaining because I didn't want it to look like another carbon copy of Armoured Warfare. This is not the World of Tanks I used to remember on console. And unless they put this in the game, it will still not be World of Tanks. That game that I'm seeing now, during its time, since that update, that's no World of Tanks. That's another fob off or cop off of another game. And might I add, that other game that I said it was a carbon copy of actually died. Game's dead, no one plays it hardly. So, my last thing I'm going to say. Tuesday, I deleted the game. I uninstalled it off my Xbox because I tend to do that. And I'll tell you this, I've uninstalled that game quite a few times, but that happened to have been the 10th time. Others were more or less to do with rage when I was streaming and bad things happening in the game, or times where I've needed a break. So, let's see. I give it a week. I give it a week and 2 weeks. Or 2 weeks. If there is no improvement, there's no improvements that appeal to me or make me in awe of approval, then I will not be playing this game. I just simply won't. So I've moved to PC version of World of Tanks, so you'll find me there. So yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is, I'm afraid, and there's not much we can do now to change that. Even reverting it seems an impossible task. Anyway, chat. It's best I get off. I know I've not uploaded a YouTube video in a while, and I feel like I need to upload quite a bit. I've been busy the past few times, etc. What I've been doing now, me being at uni, of course, did not help that situation, but that's months behind us. I'm finished uni, so there's not really an excuse really for me not to create more videos. But I hope this video, to use, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this acts as a constant reminder for the amount of shit that we got on Tuesday. Right? After all that us players have been through, we did not deserve that. Not that crock of shit. We deserved better. So, well, with a lot of good players uninstalled the game, never wanted to play it again, or just players in general, and the whole comp scene of console tanks, the global tank league is in a shambolic state of a mess now, so yeah. Anyway, chat, and ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is my point across to all of you with from my perspective of opinion through what that update is like. And I tell you one thing, as for the console developers of that game and the super testers, the only thing I have to say to them is hang your heads in shame for the absolute utter garbage you dumped on the community. Well, I hope things will improve with the game. I'm pretty sure they will at times, but let's just see. I have to be in some form of approval for me to play this game again. If not, I'm packing my bags and I'm going onto PC Tanks full time. Right, anyway, thank you for all watching this video. I appreciate you all. Feel free to like if you did enjoy me going on about the updates. If you didn't, just give it a thumbs down. But if most importantly, subscribe to the channel. It really does help. And hopefully, I'll be bringing out more YouTube content at some point. Alright? I'm not sure when it'll be. I've got the software, so I just need to have a bit of free time to, yeah, a bit of free time to have a look and practice. Alright? See you all later. And I'm hoping I'll see you all soon. Thank you for watching.